On today's episode of the Pool Marbellas podcast, we have Lex Fisun, the co-founder of Global Ledger. Lex is at the forefront of fintech innovation, building cutting-edge solutions that redefine how businesses navigate the complexities of global finance. I'm hoping that's correct.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
We're doing blockchain analysis.
with a sharp focus on compliance, transparency, leveraging blockchain technology, right?
Yes.
So, Lex, would really much like to hear about your story and how Global Ledger came to place.
Yeah, I mean, we started in this particular story. We started in 2019, where I was involved in one of the first really DeFi project, what we call a decentralized finance, which means that it was one of the first projects that would issue crypto loans. And, it was like, whoo, revolution. And, it was great. And until we tried to get a license. And then we're like, oh, there's this thing, compliance. And so we got a bunch of tools. And then we realized that these tools can be easily fooled. So people with stolen funds, can come to our platform, which we didn't like. And we started developing our own tools. And I was basically leading that. And then it actually became my totally separate project with different co-founders, and that's how we started Global Ledger. The current story is is basically very simple, in terms of what we do is, why people hate banks in general, because they're slow. And
Very slow.
And why they're slow is because their compliance is slow. What is compliance is they need to check source of funds, and they need to check the paperwork, ask you a couple questions, block your accounts in a way. And your transactions are going like 3 days or something like that, right? So crypto is changing that. And but crypto cannot be uncompliant. Like, you cannot allow stolen funds, drug dealers' funds moving freely, right? So it's not in our interest as regular citizens. So we're helping crypto companies become stay faster than banks, and maybe even allow banks that are entering crypto be fast, without spending much of compliance, without spending much time, and without spending much money on it.
So, tell us a little bit about Global Ledger nowadays. How many employees are you? Kind of customers that you have, the ones you can talk about, etc., and a little bit how you position yourself in the market.
Yeah, so we're around 65 guys right now. We mostly scattered across Europe with two main hubs, which is Zurich in Switzerland and Marbella in Spain. But also, people are remotely working from Poland, even from Ukraine, from some other countries as well. And basically, there are two main things we do and three types of customers. So two main things we do is we do these tools to reduce costs of compliance. And the second thing is we do investigations. So if someone got their crypto stolen, they don't know what to do, we have the big red button to click, so all exchanges know that your crypto is stolen. So if they accept it, they will block it. And then you can come with the police and get this money back.
So you would be the blockchain police, basically, with some wallets.
No, I like to think about that as, this James Bond movie. There's this guy Q
Yeah.
that give the gadgets to James Bond. So the real James Bond are the police. We're not taking their role.
Just facilitate
Yeah,
the process.
We give them tools. We give them that BMW with big red button, and things like that, and with the pen that explodes, right? So so this is the investigation part, and there's the tools part, and there are two types of clients. So the one is the biggest sticker yet, right? These are financial institutions and crypto and traditional ones that are entering crypto. There are governments, right? The governments also need help with investigations, with education. They often order research, like how many drugs are sold with crypto in my country and things like that. And there are regular people that just lost their crypto, or they got their account blocked that they don't know why.
I mean, so Global Ledger is tackling major challenges in finance at the moment. What would you think are the biggest hurdles that you've faced in that sense, and how have you managed to overcome or are overcoming them at the moment with Global Ledger?
Well, I think one of the funniest challenge is the fact that there's I mean the crypto grew out this community really, and it's actually a very big philosophical movement in the crypto, which is the privacy movement, right? So people want privacy, and they're thinking about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as a way to preserve their privacy. So they call themselves like a crypto libertarians or crypto anarchists, whatever you want. It's interesting that while we actually helping them at some point, they still resist us. They think that we are that big brother that is watching them, which is not necessarily untrue, right? We know maybe for Bitcoin, like 400 million wallets who owns them. That's what we need to have to do our job. Like
That's blockchain. Everything's public. So
yeah. That's what I say. Like a blockchain is a public place. It's
everybody can look at everybody's things.
yeah. It's a public ledger, right?
Yeah.
There's no private in this definition, and it's like any public place, like a nudist beach at Cavopino, where
There's no way of hiding what you got.
yeah, where if you have big balance,
You
people
know
will
what
be
you're
watching.
walking into.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's also interesting. We had a group that was writing a law for we were like brainstorming the crypto law in Ukraine, and there was a guy that could be considered like a crypto anarchist. So he was like, no regulation, no government oversight, no blockchain logics, nothing. And like the extreme opposer to any ideas of like oversight, analysis, investigations. And then 2 weeks after, he got hacked.
And who does he go to?
Yeah, he's like, can we check? Can we see? Like, it's possible to block? So I think like really, even if you are very hardcore libertarian or anarchist, still if you lose money, you want justice. And you want, the guy tracked down, and brought to justice. And at least you want your money back. And that's the only way to do that is literally to see what is going on in the blockchain.
What trends do you believe are most crucial for businesses to be aware of? Or, at least for right now?
I think one of the very important trend is that the big institutions are entering crypto. It's not going to be in a way we expect them to do it. I mean, some of the institutions, they definitely just buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin price is going up. That's great for all of us.
All-time high right now?
Yeah.
Gonna hit that 6 figures soon?
I love it. And but there's also going to be things like digital euro, probably in a matter of maybe 2 years. We're all going to use it like a normal thing, probably. So maybe not that crypto that we were thinking about, like in the way Satoshi Nakamoto was telling about crypto, right? But then it's going to be probably faster. It's going to be faster for the banks. The interbank transaction is going to be faster. That means like if you send from one country to another through the bank, it's going to be faster.
Yeah.
And a lot of things going to be better that way. I mean, I think stable coins will also stay as an alternative way of coins that you can lose much more easier than euro coins and PEP. Yeah, it's actually crazy right now. I think if you think about that, like that sovereignty of funds is so important for people. So there are the stablecoin providers that if I call my friend in the morning, not in the 1st of April, but any day, and I say, the Tether went down like to zero, and he's like, oh no, yeah, he would believe it 100%. But even to myself, like I still use Tether, like because that sort of sovereignty of funds is very important. So it's very interesting. That's like a digital cash. So big institutions entering crypto, stable coins are going to be definitely there, and it's going to feel more legal to use them. It's like with all the new regulations that are coming in. And I think we're going to see some new interesting hypes. We had like NFTs. We now have like meme coins. Crazy things happening out there.
I mean, I'm not complaining. These are the things that I do when I'm not here at the pool. So it's very interesting and nice to see it happening right now in live, being a part of it. I think a lot of people that got into crypto early, they maybe didn't realize just how big it was going to get.
Yeah.
For the ones who didn't hold, for the paper hands out there.
I think, every 2 years, if you think historically, there is a new sort of hype because people that are entering crypto, buying the whole Bitcoin for them is already very expensive. So they search for any new things, and that's where a lot of creative guys come in.
Extremely creative sometimes.
I mean, if you saw some of the things that are really pumping right now, Chris, you would just be like, I should get my 10-year-old son to go and make a meme coin. That would make more sense.
Yeah. That would definitely. And then the marketing for that is amazing. It's like, I remember one of the projects on Tron, they were like, just pumping Twitter with the messages like, this coin is so hot, like your ex that you never had. And like,
No, it really is allowing people, especially, I would say people between the ages of sort of 30 to 40, really let out their inner teenage self in this platform. And I think, again, as funny as it is, you're making money at the end of the day. So what are you going to complain about?
But that's the thing. I mean, of all markets that you would expect, being a platform for you to release your inner teenage, personality, you wouldn't think it would be fintech. It's just definitely exactly.
It's fun tech.
It's fun tech. Yeah, exactly.
My favorite, one of my favorite. My favorite is Jesus coin.
Oh, God, did you invest in that?
No, but I
He's not a believer.
The website is amazing. So they had they basically tell you that if you buy the coin, all of your coins in your portfolio will grow, and then you get sins forgiven. And then
that is relatively cheap. Huh? It's a good way to get there. Yeah, really good.
And there's a team section out there that says the CEO is Jesus, the customer support is the donkey, and the trustee is Iuda.
Well,
the creativity is limitless, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny enough because today we were talking to somebody who's involved with Bridge right now, right?
Okay.
And I reacted to one of the things that you just said because he actually, when we're talking about when stablecoins will become mainstream, he was giving us a period of time, approximately 2 years, which is exactly the example that you use. So I don't know, is that something that you envision that's probably going to take 2 years for seeing people who is not really much driven into crypto like myself, for instance? Maybe that's when it's going to become a little bit more, mainstream?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So there are laws and regulations, roadmap, and there's also roadmap of
Not written by Jesus and the donkey at this point. No, okay.
by
Okay.
Iuda. Yeah, so there are laws and regulations, and there are also things like roadmaps of the entities we work with. So we understand that after 2 years they're going to release these institutional products or wallets, therefore general public or exchanges obtaining certain licenses to be extremely legal and allow it to advertise on every corner and things like that. So with 2 years, that's
It's reasonable
timeline. Yeah.
I mean, going back to regulations, how do you think that the emerging regulations could potentially affect the adoption and functionality of platforms like Global Ledger? I mean, are there any policies that you're closely watching at the moment?
Yeah, it's not even watching, we are participating in writing them.
Okay.
So in a lot of these, we just recently released a paper on regulation of decentralized finance that will be circulated through multiple regulators. We literally work closely with a lot of them because we are those experts. They usually need to ask questions about how can you really regulate DeFi? Is it possible that you can really apply the same things as to banks? And things like that. Because in decentralized finance, there's a guy that has posted the contract, right? There's validator somewhere, I don't know, in Pakistan maybe, that validates your transactions randomly. It could be one validator today, another tomorrow, right? And another thing, in the bank, you deposit money, they check it and they may reject the deposit, and then you do internal things, maybe you do the payment or something, they checked it and they may stop that transaction from happening. And also they can do the same to the withdrawal of the money, where in DeFi, all of this is one unrejectable transaction, which is also you have to write your laws accordingly, because if you write a law that just wouldn't work, you can write a law, we forbid Bitcoin. How do you enforce it? There's no way to enforce it. So you have to adapt.
Usually the people writing the laws are not exactly the most well-versed in this particular industry. So they do need people like you and your team in Global Ledger to be able to guide them in that sense to, I suppose, write the laws to regulate it in a way that actually works for the platform and actually works for the transactions that go through and the way that it operates, right?
Yeah, I'd say like Europe is lucky with this because people are writing the laws right now. They know what to do. While on certain aspects we help them.
I mean, you said you guys are based also in Switzerland. I mean, Switzerland is one of the first
Yeah.
countries to
Yeah.
push crypto and even allow people to pay their community fees with Bitcoin and things like this.
Yeah, you can pay salary in crypto.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, are they sharing policies with the rest of Europe? I mean, I know that Switzerland doesn't share a lot of things.
Historically, have a
We can read and
sharing
copy that. That's not from like, yeah.
So the integration of blockchain into traditional finance, it's kind of a controversial thing.
Yeah.
What do you say to skeptics who question the scalability and the security of it?
Look, I would start from the thing that is called trust. Right, blockchain was built like this trustless system where you should sort of shouldn't trust any like third party. But what we can see right now is that people don't trust themselves more than a third party. So most people, they use exchanges, they use some wallets. They don't use the Bitcoin Core wallet, whatever. So they trust these third parties because they think they have more chances to screw this up, to lose the coins, with no insurance to that and things like
They
that.
normally prefer to blame someone, but when it comes to blaming themselves, it's a
Yeah, it's a harder thing to do. It's definitely. So, and ultimately, if you think about that, the whole regulation thing is just about writing the name of the founder of the project so you can then sue him. Like when you get a license, it's just they checking that you're credible enough and you have a team that will be doing the right thing.
that you're not going to rug.
Yeah, that's true. So, and banks have all of that. So banks already have that proven credibility. A lot of people trust banks. And we have definitely less banks popped out this year than crypto exchanges and different crypto projects, and definitely less than meme coins. So in that scenario, banks as accumulators of trust, they have pretty high potential to enter the field. And I know about many pilot projects they do, and probably we'll see the banks that will be integrating with DeFi even, which is a crazy thing to do if you even say that 2 years ago. Like it would be like,
I think even a year ago, it would have been kind of mind blowing to be like, really?
centralized banks?
Banks want to work their way to DeFi?
No, like they should hate it.
Could you share maybe an example of a breakthrough moment where Global Ledger's platform really helped a client, if you're able to, of course?
Yeah, it's fairly easy. I mean, I think on the help side, it's more about investigations, and it's more about helping compliance, to sort out their problems. So on the investigation side, the first time we actually, it was literally half a year after we started, there was a big crypto exchange hack in Germany, and we had to investigate it. So we provide all the evidence, and we actually found out that we did extremely hard investigation because there was mixing involved, and
It was just before COVID, right?
yeah, it was before
Just
COVID, maybe
before.
like almost a year before COVID.
Yeah.
So
I think I read about that.
and the person was actually pretty professional on like mixing and shuffling funds, but we've traced him, and we found out his Coinbase account, and it turned out it was the employee of the exchange.
Oh,
So
How long would you say that took, roughly? for your team?
about like maybe 1.5 week for the initial like results, but then it was more like evidence collection and things like that, forming out the report for the police. Yeah, so it was pretty interesting coincidence, right, on the Coinbase account, and and so right now we have a very big investigation like that, like with 900 BTC at stake. So the evidence is pretty strong. So I hope, and police already seized money. So I hope our client will get what it should. And on the compliance side, usually people just don't know what to do. Like sometimes it's just you're running the business, or you're even using some tools, but you don't use them to full extent, or the tools does not allow you to see certain things. So right now, a hot topic is sanctions, for example, right? Sanctions evasion. And these guys that are trying to hide their like from sanctioned entity, they get very creative as well. So some of the tools, they're not as creative as these guys. And fraudsters are generally, they are the first inventor. So you have to watch their inventions, admire them, and try to trace
And then
them.
you can do the counterpart.
Yeah. So it's a
Kind of the virus, antivirus kind of thing in there. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's true. So that's where we help them. We come to them, we say, hey, look, you probably haven't seen that, but you have a problem of like 200 million funds that the regulator might be watching you accepting. Maybe you want us to help you with that and prevent that in future. So that's how it works right now.
What's the next step that Global Ledger is currently working on? What's the next step for the company?
Should I tell you that? I mean, I think one of the most important things we're working on, I think, is reducing the cost. You don't really think about it as a customer, but imagine situation. Okay, you deposited $1,000 to a bank account, and then compliance officer need to go and check what's your money about. Imagine there are like 10,000 people at the exchange doing that every month. So you need to have plenty of guys checking that. And so if the guy spent an hour on your case, so he spent like maybe 20 euros on your case, and you made a few payments that the bank earned €5 from or something, you are not profitable for the bank.
Yeah.
So the compliance cost should be lower than the profit. So at least there are other expenses, and we are not the only tool even out there. So. And also the workload on compliance. If there are like 10,000 people and you need to check every transaction, just like how many people do you need a month? And it's like usually compliance officers, they open these tools and there's like thousands alerts and they're like, oh, that's where procrastination starts,
Yeah.
So our goal is to have like, few button clicks, automate actions. And, if we even do AI, that's for that. That's not just to have AI thing. That's the AI that would reduce the cost and the workload on a compliance officer. So that's very important. Yeah, that's probably the next big thing. Like just make compliance officers a little bit more lazy and
But let them focus on the things that can't be AI written in that sense. So.
yeah, that's true. I mean, the decisions cannot be taken by AI.
course.
You cannot trust them by that. But
But there's basic steps that you could probably program it to do to be able to save a lot of time, like you said.
yeah,
Just filtering out.
pre-investigations, speaking with the customer, even things like that.
How do you think this institutional backing will shape the future of blockchain technology and the financial markets?
Look, I think there's non-zero chance of probability that the governments will enter Bitcoin, and when the government will enter, I mean, now I'll say like some of the investment funds are already pretty close to the government money in terms of they receiving loans and things like that. So in general, when the government will enter, that's going to be a competition. So I mean, that's definitely an optimistic scenario. I really want it, and it's very biased. But there is a probability of that. Even without this, maybe not in Bitcoin sphere, but we definitely will see more institutions coming into Bitcoin. It certainly comes to the fact that the banks. I remember like a year ago here in Spain, the banks would charge negative interest. And so that's crazy. Where in DeFi you could get like 4-7%, like in not a rug pull type of DeFi, but in the normal one.
Yeah, normal one.
So in general, I think for the banks, they see crypto and DeFi as their way of optimizing costs and also improving offerings for the customers. So we will definitely see that. And with that trust from the banks, maybe the customers will also be more willing to sort of invest in that. But even right now, I think like a lot of family offices in Europe, a lot of small funds, hedge funds, they explore crypto, they invest in crypto. They were just searching for instruments to do that legally with the MiCA regulations that are like coming into play already.
1st of January.
Yeah, they're like stages, but it's already sort of here. I think they'll just easier for them to enter, and that might be a big step. And it's super cool that Europe is on the forefront of that, because in most of the competitions Europe lost to the US. We all use like YouTube and it's not like European YouTube or the iPhone and everything. So maybe at least in crypto, we'll be able to sort of compete a little bit better on the world
Final
scene.
question from me. The rise of CBDCs, central bank digital currencies.
Oh, I have a funny story about that.
It's a hot topic right now. So how do you see them affecting the role of decentralized finance? And where does Global Ledger fit into this evolving narrative?
I was in the central bank. We had a meeting, and it was in London, and there was a protest near the central bank against CBDCs, and there was a woman standing, like, with a banner that said CBDC, Central Bank Digital Conspiracy. Like, our role there is secured. They definitely need to have AML, but it's gonna be a little bit later on. Right now, the first CBDC we're gonna hear about them, but we're not gonna feel them. Like, the first CBDC they called wholesale CBDC, which is just literally just interbank transactions settlement. It's nothing about us using CBDC as crypto, nothing like it's now in China. And the projects on that sort of retail CBDC, they don't look like a crypto at all. More like what we have now with our like credit cards and things like that. So it's not.
The transactions are very similar.
Yeah, it is very similar.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, some of the projects around the world, it's probably not very European geographies. They trying to do something close to blockchain. They might use like IBM Hyperledger technology, and there are some other things. There are projects we've been participating that would, for example, use Stellar. And there are other very amazing technologies. I think Polkadot is an amazing technology that can be used for CBDC as well. So the CBDCs that we're going to be using as customers probably are not going to happen next 2-3 years.
5 years, maybe.
Yeah, around that. And it all comes to the fact that it is actually very hard for the government to sign up for one single technology and think that it's going to work for like
Everyone.
everyone, and 100 years, timeline, and also who's going to pay transaction fees, and also, what if this technology will be hacked? All our financial system dependent on it. So this is a very hard decision for the government. So maybe the best way to do CBDC is to like really like basically do this tether that can be launched on any blockchain. It's just guaranteed by the government, for example, right?
Right.
So the same model, just different trust mechanism, and that's it. So, but on that sort of idea that I just, I don't see any developments on that idea. So it's just my
Not yet.
opinion on that. Yeah.
Obviously, you're operating from Marbella. How does it feel? How does it feel running a business from here?
Well, it feels good. So,
When you're not traveling all the time, I take it like.
yeah, I definitely travel a lot. I spent a lot of time in Switzerland as well. So here is more of a, my sister recently been here. She lives in the US normally, but when they came, they're like, "Oh, you're leaving the vacation," like inside of it. So yeah, it feels like that. I come here more like a for vacation, like workation, things like that. Yeah, the weather and the people and the whole town basically is very relaxing. So it's not like when you are in Dubai, where if you're not wearing a few Rolexes on your wrist, it's like it doesn't feel relaxing at all. So or when you are like in some countries, like even US, you sort of see everyone is running somewhere and they work, so you have to like run and work as well. Here you sit and work. Like, you're a little bit more relaxed on that.
Exactly. I think that's kind of contagious, right? I mean, the environment actually inspires to that. I mean, it's not that you're less productive, but I mean, you work in a different pace.
You're just less worried, less anxious. It's like, yeah.
I think that helps a lot. I mean, most people's jobs is where the majority of their stress comes from. So
Yeah.
if you can live in a place and work from a place that is pretty much stress-free, then whatever stresses come your way are very reduced.
Yeah. You have a lot of sky.
Yeah, it kind of helps. Yeah, it really does.
Because in these like jungles, like the stone jungles, as they say, like
Exactly.
Concrete
Yeah.
jungles.
go and see the sky in Hong Kong, right?
Thank you so much, Lex. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much.